All right, here we go. CIS-125. And it is Monday, October 31st. So it's Halloween. Okay. Starting week 10. So today we talked about data structures. And we did it with an example. And what we did was we talked first about variables. We have string variables and numerics. And then we gave an example. What if you had a whole bunch of scores? In fact, what if you had 11 scores? Okay, here's some scores that I gave an example. They're not all showing there. And you want to do some things like print out the last three entered, or you wanted to sort the scores, or you need to print out the middle score, or print the scores down in a list like this, one at a time. Okay, so those were the goals of the example we were going to do in class. In order to do that, we need to be able to take a variable, and in this case it's going to be numeric, and we can put it in the list. A list is a data structure in Python, and the more generic term for that would be an array. An array allows us to use one name to represent a whole group of data. Okay? And we can identify each of those in the array using this subscript right here. So this integer will indicate which value we're talking about. For example, most arrays start this way: 0, 1, 2, okay? So score sub 1 would be 46. All right. So we have the concept of arrays, and we can apply that using a list data structure from Python to do this problem. All right, so let's take a look at that. So what the students did was look at some code that I showed them, and I'm going to show you the code here in a minute. And then they were going to put in the 10 scores and get it to do, or 11 scores, and get it to do these particular things. Okay? After we get done doing that, we do it first with a for loop, which would be a do until. Then they adjusted it and did it with a while loop, so we could have a variable number of scores. Okay, so I've got a couple examples coming up to show you that. Let's keep moving. We called it class 10, stand for week 10, doing it in class, and so they had their initials and then they made up a name. Okay, they made up the scores. The scores, when it does this, when it stores them in memory. It just makes this whole list of scores in memory, only limited by how much memory you have. I reviewed briefly, copy it over to group 10. Make sure you've already done this, and you can look at them in group 10. So if you were gone today, or even if you were there, you can go to this directory and look at the files. There's a lot of them in there, but you can look for the ones that start with C10. All right. This was an example from the screen where we were looking up a particular person, because what we did was created a couple lists. Okay. So first one here we're going to talk about. This was a name list with a while loop. Okay. So let me go through each line. Name list. This creates the array, or more specifically, it creates the list. Okay, so it's going to go into memory, and it's going to call something, and it's going to be the word right here, name list. That's the name equals this list. So it's going to apply that name list, that's the variable name, to this list. Okay? This is standard input like we've done before. We're going to input name1. While name1 is not done, okay, so here we have a condition, right? And then here we have a flag to stop the loop. And then this line right here, it takes the value for name, which we put in right here, okay? Right there, takes that and it appends the list. So whatever name we typed in there, it put it in here, okay? Because in our name list, and that would be reference 0 if we're going to use a subscript. Get another name, end with done, and then we have our loop, right? Goes back up here. Is it done? Nope. And then it takes that name and puts it in the list. Okay? I guess I could do this so they look the same. And that'd be reference 1. So this loop, right, this loop can go forever until we type in the word done. So we keep adding names to the list, and then once we put in done, it goes down here. Okay? Go down to the print statement. Print loop is done. This literally prints out the list. I didn't show a run here. I should have done that. I just print some dotted lines. This will find the integer, find the length of the list divided by 2, integer that. So actually it's going to take this name list, and this will be the middle number, and it'll print it out, that subscript. So it's going to print out the middle name in the list. Here it prints the list sorted. Or here it sorts the list, excuse me, it doesn't print it, and then here it reprints the list sorted, and then here for item in name list, it'll go through and it'll keep looping, for loop, it'll keep looping until the list is empty. So this will print them like this, down in a row, and we print done. Alright, let me go to the last. This was the original name list, so here we create the list for the I in range 1 to 6, so that'll be 5 loops. We put in a name, put it in the list. Do you see that? This variable matches here, and then the append puts it in this name list here. This loop keeps going for 5 times, and we just print out a marker there, and here we actually print the list. Here we print, actually, since that's a 3, it would actually print the 4th item in the list because the list subscripts start at 0. Print out the dotted line, sort the list, print it, and then this code here prints the names like this. However many, well, there'd be 5 names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's going to print done. Alright. These, the previous program, that name add, py, and this one, name add, and this one too, they will be, this one is already, and then I'll put this one too out in that directory with group 10 if you want to look at them or run them. Yeah, you could execute them. Remember, if you execute these, you got to do a dot, slash, and then the file name. That should be it for today. We actually not quite it for today. We, just a reminder, you should, computer science computer science circles. I looked those all up. Some of you are doing great, some of you are a little behind, but you need to be working on those. Towards the end of those, they actually cover the list. Okay. Assignments. The one I just went over with you, that's number 8. We did that in class. You really need to be in class to do that. And then assignment number 9 is now available. And number 10, both of those have to do with arrays, and actually more specifically lists, which we're going to cover more list and expand on those a little bit. We'll be expanding on that on Wednesday in class. Alright, if you have previous assignments before 8, I'm slowly finalizing my checks of them, okay? And so eventually I'll just be putting in zeros or grading whatever you have there. So typically I'll look at a group and put some hints in, then look at another group, put some hints in. So I'm going to look, I've already done 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to do 4 before class on Wednesday, maybe 5, and so eventually we'll have to put those behind us and move forward. That's it for today.